Really? Really? Really?
Now I know what you're thinking. How did this happen? Well, it's a long story.
So I just got back from seeing Thor Ragnarok. This is a movie that apparently has 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I didn't really like it a whole lot. I thought it was decent. I don't think it was 93% good. I thought it was just fine, which is more than can be said for the other two Thor films. The other two Thor films are poo-poo garbage. Let's start off with the good though, because I want to end on a bad note, because that's how I roll. I like some of the fight scenes. Fight scenes were pretty good, especially between the Hulk and Thor. The Hulk versus Thor fight was actually really cool. I wish it was a little bit longer though. It was kind of short, just a little bit longer, a little bit more punches. And I do have to say the cinematography in this was gorgeous. There were some shots where I'm like, I want a poster of that. There was one like Valkyrie like flashback thing, and I was like, that looks amazing. When this movie comes out, I'm gonna freeze frame that scene, take a picture of it, print it out, blow it up, big poster, because it looks dope. Valkyrie was fucking dope. Hela looked cool. She didn't really like do a whole lot, which surprised me, because I thought she was gonna be this big villain, and you're gonna be like, oh, how's Thor and Loki and Valkyrie gonna stop her? And then Hulk was cool. Hulk's always cool. It's weird to see him talk like full sentences now. He's basically just like a toddler. Like he literally speaks like a toddler as well, which is pretty funny because that's actually how the Hulk would talk. Loki's back in it. You know, at first I was kind of getting sick of like Loki being Loki. You know, like him always just being full of mischief and stuff. I know that's his thing, but it's like you can grow a little throughout these movies. And by the end, he actually kind of does, which surprised me. He actually grew as a character and quit being a fucking dingus. Thor was cool. I like Thor, even though they've kind of made Thor a little bit too goofy a little bit in these movies, and all of them really, even in the Avengers films. He's a little too goofy. I prefer my Thor a little bit more serious. He's serious in this, but he does have some jokes here and there, which I'm like, alright. I liked some of the story elements, like the opening fight, just the setting, and I think he was fighting Sartor. I don't know how you pronounce that, but he was fighting him. He looked cool. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster was pretty cool. He didn't do anything. I thought he was kind of gonna be like a side villain. He's not really a villain. He's just kind of, he runs the city. He runs the planet. They never really like fight him, which is fine. You know, Thor would destroy the Grandmaster. Heimdall's back and he's fucking badass. He's awesome. Where was this Heimdall for the past two movies? He was cool. He was like an outlaw. You know, everyone was searching for him, and he had that giant sword, and he was just cutting down everybody. And then they cut away from it. Like, I want to see a movie about that. That was more interesting than what was going on with Thor and Valkyrie and the Revengers. That was more interesting than all of that. Give me a spinoff with Heimdall, doing Heimdall stuff. The director was even a prominent character in the film. He played Korg, which I didn't really like him. I don't really like this director's type of humor. I haven't seen his other film, Hunt for the Wilder People, or however you say that, Wilder People, I don't know. I haven't seen that. I heard it was great. But I'm just not a huge fan of his type of humor. I've seen him in interviews and stuff like that. I don't really think he's that funny. I don't think he wrote this as well, but I'm just not a big fan of that type of humor. And he has jokes in it. He's kind of the comedic relief in the movie. He's kind of a side character, but he's a prominent side character. There was only like one funny thing he said, and it involves Loki, that I actually laughed at. I never raffle-lameoed at this movie, but I did chuckle. Cate Blanchett as Hela, again, she looked cool, didn't really do a whole lot, wasn't really that scary and menacing. She looks great though. Cate Blanchett's like, what, like 50? She's 48, she's almost 50, she's looking good. I think the thing that I dislike most about this was because it's and it's not just this, it's kind of Marvel in general, is that they're going way too much in the comedy spectrum. Now the comedy genre can work with some characters, like Spider-Man. He's funny, you know, make it a comedy. Iron Man, the Guardians, Ant-Man, you know. But Thor, I've always pictured Thor as more serious, you know. From what I remember reading in the comics, Thor was always kind of a stoic, you know, more godlike than anything. And then in all these movies, he's kind of quipping and cracking jokes, and everybody's too sarcastic and cracking jokes and everything. That's just, it's a little much. Like, give me a serious Thor movie. And I know Ragnarok in the comics is like the darkest Thor story. And that's not really this, so if you're going expecting that, you're not going to get it, which is fine. I didn't expect it to be a direct adaptation. It's kind of a mix of stuff. It's a mix of Planet Hulk, it's a mix of Ragnarok, it's a mix of a bunch of stuff. There are a couple references. I noticed there's one cameo, well, there's two cameos actually that I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about in the spoilers. This one's not really a spoiler, but I noticed it. Matt Damon's in this movie. Why is Matt Damon in this movie? He's not anyone important. He shows up, and I was just like, is that Matt Damon? And it was Matt Damon. I was like, really, Matt Damon? You could have been anybody in the Marvel Universe, and you chose to be this person? He's just a regular person. Like, he's an actor in Asgard. And it's just weird. Like, I wanted him to be like Nova or something. Like, I think he'd be a cool Nova. He's a little old, but whatever. He could be anybody. Why this? There was a Willy Wonka reference, which is weird. They played the Willy Wonka music, the theme. There was also a reference to Beta Ray Bill and Man-Thing. I know Man-Thing was in the trailer. Like, his reference was in the trailer. I don't remember seeing him in the movie at all. They might have CG'd it out, but I don't know why they would. But you see statues of both of them, which, goddamn, we've had 3 Thor movies. Why are they shying away from Beta Ray Bill? I know he would probably look horrifying in CG, but come on, give us Beta Ray Bill. Even if it's just like he shows up in the background and he says like one thing, give me Beta Ray Bill, all right? I want to see Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill is my boy. Thor 4 is a thing and it happens. I want Beta Ray Bill or I'm boycotting these movies. Also, like, the villain wasn't too, like, menacing. She kind of shows up, she kills a couple people, and then she's just like, I'm gonna take over Asgard. And then we spend a huge chunk of time away from the villain. I kind of wanted to see the villain do more villainous shit. I wanted to see Hela do more Hela shit. She's the goddess of death. I want to see her, like, kill a bunch of people and just be menacing. We don't really see that a whole lot. She kills like a couple people, and it's just like, all right, how many people have came to Asgard? I'm sure Curse in Thor: The Dark World killed more people than Hela did in this movie. So does Thor Ragnarok suck? No, not really. It's fine. It's whatever. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, just thought it was whatever. Don't really understand the 93% on Rotten Tomatoes though. That's a little odd. So now I'm gonna get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, or if you don't care, that's fine. Stick around if you don't care. If you haven't seen it, leave. Go watch the movie, then come back. Or I don't give a fuck. Stay. I don't care. So Hela is Thor and Loki's sister, which I'm not too familiar on Thor lore from the comics. I don't know if Hela is actually related to them, but I thought that was kind of a cool edge, a cool, not twist, but a cool element of the movie. They don't really play on that though a whole lot. They mention it and they bring it up, but there's not really a whole lot of like sibling rivalry going on. Because I mean, you got Thor and Loki finally patching things up somewhat and working together. I was expecting like she would kind of be the new Loki. She kind of wasn't, you know. And at the end, I was so worried that they were gonna end this like X-Men Apocalypse, and they kind of did, but it works a little better. Because I'm sick of these movies always saying, you know, they introduce these villains and they say they're the biggest, baddest villain ever, and then they get defeated by the end of the film. Why not have Hela stick around? How is that going to affect Thanos in Infinity War? How is that like? I don't know. Maybe it's part of the story. I don't know. Maybe. Infinity War's not out yet. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But it just felt like so kind of just typical standard superhero movie where the villain dies at the end, and it's like I would have preferred an after credit scene where she like comes back to life, or she's not actually dead, setting up that she'll be back in the next movie. That's fine, do that. I want to talk about the other cameo. Doctor Strange shows up in this movie, and it felt so forced and lazy. They just kind of threw him in there, like. Basically, Thor and Loki come back to Earth because they're looking for Odin, and somehow Doctor Strange knows they're there, and he sends Loki through one of those portals, and then Thor goes and talks to him, and they have a chat for like a little bit, and then Doctor Strange is just like, oh, your dad's here. That's it? You're gonna put Doctor Strange in this movie and you're not gonna like give him something to do? It'd be cool if he showed up at the end, you know, if he showed up at the end in Asgard somehow. But if he just showed up at the end and helped out Thor and Hulk and Valkyrie and the Revengers, that would have been better than what they did. Thor gets his fucking eye gouged out, so he's basically Odin now, which is actually kind of cool. I like that. Scourge, I'll just call him Carl Urban because that's who plays him. Carl Urban dies really easily. He goes out like a bitch though. And also, I thought Scourge was a bad guy in the comics. From what I remember, he was always a bad guy. But in this, it's kind of like Hela tells him to kill somebody and he's kind of hesitating. And he's like, I don't really want to do it. And at the end, he pulls out these machine guns and he starts murdering the bad guys. And it's just like, that just felt weird to me. I don't know, I might be wrong. But it just felt weird. That doesn't affect the movie. I'm just saying that's just a weird thing. Also, Thor's friends die. His 3 friends, Hogun, Fandral, and the other one, whose name I don't know and don't really care about, they all die, which was weird. I don't have like an emotional attachment to them, but it's just they've been in every Thor film. So I just thought I was like, oh, okay, shit. And then at the end, we have Hela and Surtur fighting, and they're basically destroying Asgard, and that's how Hela dies, because Surtur blows up Asgard, and it just felt, I don't know, it felt like an X-Men Apocalypse type death. Like, you introduce this big character and you say like, oh, how are we gonna stop them? They're unstoppable, and then you just blow them up. That's literally how they defeated Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse. That's how they defeated Hela, the goddess of death. I'm pretty sure she could withstand an explosion of that caliber. I'm pretty sure if Loki can survive being dropped in space from the first Thor film and being thrown around by the Hulk, she could survive a explosion. So that just felt a little meh to me. And again, there are some cool fights, especially with the Hulk. The Hulk at one point is like in the ocean fighting this big wolf. And it looked really cool, like cinematography wise, but it was fun. You know, this movie is a lot of fun. I won't say it's, you know, you'll be bored. It's not boring. It is fun. The action scenes are fun. You know, there are jokes in it, and some work, some don't. But it is a lot of fun. Thor Ragnarok isn't a terrible film. It's fine. It's whatever. I just wish we had like a serious, like, dark Thor film where Thor, like, you know, he gets his hammer broken and he's got to like rise up and just like he's in hell or something, and I don't know, make a serious Thor film. That would honestly be awesome. People would go bonkers for that. It has a lot of similar problems that like Wonder Woman had for me and some other Marvel movies had, but you know, at the end of the day, it's fine. It's whatever. I'll probably never see it again. I'll definitely buy it on Blu-ray. I don't have the other Thor movies on Blu-ray because they are poo-poo. So that is a good sign. This definitely is the best of the 3 Thor films. You know, it's not terrible. I'd recommend seeing it at least once. I mean, it's short. It's not super long. It's like 130 minutes, which I guess technically that's kind of long, but it's not that bad. It's not too long. So yeah, I would recommend seeing Thor Ragnarok at least once. You know, just have fun, whatever.
Yes! We know each other. He's a friend from work. Oh, come on.
Thor would destroy the Grandmaster.